One more sleep until opening day. Well, kind of. We have Yankees Giants on Wednesday. We have 11 games the next day, and then 3 more games after that because MLB has to get their money. In this episode, we are going to be talking Konnor Griffin getting reassigned to the minor leagues. Aram and I got our MLB award predictions, and then we'll end with a preview for Giants Yankees. It is Tuesday, March 24th here on the Just Baseball Show, and it's all brought to you by BetMGM. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code JustBaseball when signing up, and you will get up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Just download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code JustBaseball. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And if that bet loses, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. And get in on MLB action with a no sweat token. If you don't win your wager, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. It has already been loaded into your account. Remember to use code JustBaseball on BetMGM for that new player offer. Aram, can you feel it? Opening day is right around the corner.
It feels weird now when it's like 3 different days and it's one game at first. I'm not complaining because I'm excited, and we kind of get to spread it out. Maybe I'll be able to actually watch more games at once, or at least in of the first games of the season. But yeah, this is just the most 2026 thing ever in sports media, streaming, whatever. We got the Netflix game first, and then we got 2 more days of opening day. But I am really excited. I honestly crept up quicker than ever because of the WBC.
Yes.
Where like usually I feel like I'm just like waiting. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually here. So very pumped up about it. And it's pretty wild how quickly it crept up.
So I sent out a tweet saying, why is opening day spread out over 3 days? Giants and Yankees play on Wednesday. 6 teams don't even start the season until Friday. Opening day should be on April 1st every year, featuring every team. That's my opinion. However, yes, I did get a good comment kind of dunking on me, and I even responded pretty good answer, to be honest. Wednesday is simple money. This comes from Gamecock Keith 24, Keith Locklear on Twitter. Wednesday is simple money.
Yeah.
The rest is to account for bad weather and a bunch of rainouts. If you notice, all the Friday games are indoors or where it's highly unlikely to rain. And then I fact-checked him, and that kind of is the case.
Wow.
So we can accuse Major League Baseball of a money grab, which I think Wednesday, of course, they're opening up on Netflix. We'll give them that one. But separating over Thursday and Friday seems to be more about rainouts than it is about a cash grab. And I'm like, all right, that is probably fair.
Yeah, my only complaint is that Bert Kreischer is going to be on the Netflix broadcast. I'm just not a big fan. But
wait, what about when he takes off his shirt? That's
it. I think he just shows up without the shirt. That's the whole joke. Again, I talked about this. Look, you and I, we went to school together. We're in the same fraternity. You and I knew 13 Bert Kreischers in college. None of them made that much money doing what they're doing. So I tip my cap to Bert Kreischer, and I admire how much he's been able to squeeze it for all it's worth. I never thought I'd see him. Great. Actually, really excited about the broadcast, though. Like the baseball players and the media personalities that they have on there are awesome. I am not eager, but interested to see how Bert Kreischer fits in.
Let's talk about the Bert Kreischer of MLB stories, and that is Konnor Griffin getting reassigned to the minors.
Yeah.
He hit 171 in spring training. It's not, Podcast P just flashed it on the screen. In 41 ABs, he hit 171 with 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 1 stolen base for 749 OPS. So clearly the batting average doesn't accurately represent what he's done in spring training, but he still is a teenager. Do you think that this is blatant service manipulation, or do you think this is more, hey, he's really young and might not be quite ready?
I think it's a really interesting question, because I think with this case, it's a little bit more nuanced than just like, it's so easy to just be like, screw you guys. You're manipulating the service time. I think 2 things can be true. One is that the Pirates are better off with Konnor Griffin on the opening day roster playing shortstop. The other is that Konnor Griffin could be better off getting a little bit more seasoning in the minor leagues. And that might sound like contradictory, but I do think, like we saw in spring training, the flashes are there. He's going to defend. He's going to hit mistakes and hit some homers. He's going to steal bags. But he's also going to punch a little bit, and there's going to be some growing pains. And so I think from the lens of like wanting to have him eased in the best way possible to have the most success out of the gate, I think you could justify having him in the minor leagues a little bit longer. It's easy to forget that he only played 24 games, including the postseason, above high A. He did put up an 1,010 OPS in that span.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I would have him up there.
Yes.
That said, this isn't like the Chris Bryant, we need to work on his defense. We're not even going to say what about his defense he needs to work on. He needs to work on his defense kind of thing. I think the way they justified it to themselves is I don't think they feel like Connor Griffin, or at least like this year in particular, we're going to talk about our National League Rookie of the Year picks. Dude, that was really hard to pick because there's like 7 guys that either got a taste of last year's big leagues and showed out, like even in a small spurt, but looked really comfortable, or upper minors guys that just made the team on opening day and are going to get runway and look really polished. So in a year where you could cite the PPI pick as a reason to call him up out of the gate, it's going to be hard even for a player as talented as Connor Griffin to win that Rookie of the Year when you have the Weatherholts of the world, you have Nolan McLean, you have Sal Stewart, you have Carson Benj, you have many more.
Yeah, keep going.
I think that may have been part of the reason why they were like, we might not even get the PPI pick anyways. Let's try to guarantee ourselves that full year of service. And there is the one little chance here, though, that same thing happens that happened with Paul Skeens, which is they think they guarantee themselves a full year service. And then he ends up being so nasty that he just runs away with Rookie of the Year like Skeens did. And then he gets himself the full year service because that's the rule. And instead, when you win Rookie of the Year without being called up, at the start of the season, you end up getting that full year of service as a reward for the team, manipulating clearly a player that probably was good enough to be up from the gate because he ended up winning it with a delayed start. I don't think that happens with Griffin. I think the Pirates are betting that doesn't happen with Griffin just based on the growing pains. And I think it just gives them a little bit more time to get clarity on some of the other pieces. They have a lot of role players and they need to figure out which of them is going to fit where. And I think that's how they justify it. But yeah, it's not their best foot forward. I will say that.
Can I give you another reason that I think Ben Cherington might say? And I think that this is valid, and you tell me if it is. If he comes out and says, right now, we think Nick Gonzalez is a better shortstop today than Connor Griffin is. And if Connor Griffin isn't going to start because in center field we have O'Neal Cruz, why pull him up from the minor leagues? Do you think that's a fair, like if Ben Cherington just came out and said that, what would be your reaction? Because I could see it, right? Nick Gonzalez is a big leaguer. He's a decent bat. He's not the greatest glove. I'm not calling Nick Gonzalez is probably going to hit 8th or 9th in the Pirates order. But Nick Gonzalez, you used to love him as a prospect too. Is that a fair, I don't know, assessment of the situation if you're pretending I'm Ben Cherington?
I think it would be a little bit of a reach because of the fact that Nick Gonzalez is not going to be a very good shortstop. If it's Jared Triolo over at shortstop,
true,
he's going to defend pretty well. But this is a team that is not good defensively. And if you're replacing with a guy that's going to hit at the bottom of your order, then I would just rather have Connor Griffin playing at least plus defense and giving you elite wheels. Again, you look at this lineup, other than O'Neal Cruz, who else is much of a factor on the base paths either?
Not much.
Who else is creating runs? So I think there's a chance that you get better at bats through the first few weeks of the season from some of those guys that have been there, done that for a little bit. But in terms of like the best 9 that you can put forward, and I think a defense that has a chance to be one of the worst in Major League Baseball, having a clear plus defender at a premium position, I think is important. Then you would slide Triolo over to third, and now your left side of the infield is actually good defensively, which you need every single DRS OAA you can get. So that's my thing is just, I feel like he hedges a weakness for them. And then also give him as much runway to get used to the big leagues. And maybe by June he's settled in. Whereas now, yes, he's going to settle into AAA and rake there for a month. He's still going to have the big league adjustment. You're just delaying that big league adjustment by another month. And maybe by June, the season may not be going the way that you think it should. And now Konnor Griffin gets going, and it may be a little bit too late to help kind of spark the team if they're not doing the things that you want to see them do. So I don't think it's their best foot forward. I see how they can justify it, and I don't think it's as egregious as even like a Kevin McGonigal not making the Tigers. But again, I think this is a unique circumstance where you have a 5-tool potential star and a team that the gesture was this offseason win now mode. He should have been on this roster, but I think it's just borderline justifiable enough to not, be picketing outside of PNC.
So in summary, you're basically telling Peter Apple, the assistant GM of the Pirates, and Ben Cherington, the GM of the Pirates, to shove it, if that's what they came out and said.
Without the picketing. I think I know why they did it. They're going to guarantee themselves a year of service because it's going to be real hard for Konnor Griffin to win that Rookie of the Year with a month and a half or 2 months delay. And that's what they want to do here, especially as they're negotiating the extension. And who knows, maybe once he signs that extension, he gets called up a little bit after that too. Maybe there's a little bit of leverage play there, which is not great, but wouldn't surprise me.
Let's stick on that note and just go straight into National League Rookie of the Year. Because my plan actually was to go American League MVP, National League MVP, Cy Youngs, then Rookie of the Year. But I really love this conversation, and I want to keep your brain turning in this league, in this award. So ever since it was announced that Konnor Griffin is not going to start the year, in the major leagues, his odds have come down a little bit. Now, the clear favorite now is Nolan McLean at plus 280 on BetMGM. And before we get into all of this, a quick reminder, if you are enjoying us live here on YouTube, the best way to support these live streams, make sure that you smash the like button and hit that big red subscribe button. And if you're listening on audio after the fact, again, the best way to support, leave a 5-star review. So going back to the National League Rookie of the Year, on BetMGM, there have been a lot of bets so far. Konnor Griffin has dominated the handle, which is the total amount of money bet in this market. He has gotten 57.9% of the money. And he's also BetMGM's biggest liability. So everyone backed up the Brinks truck for Konnor Griffin. So they are hoping he gets called up quickly. But there is so much talent, Aram, in the National League. Konnor Griffin might be the most talented, but when you have a guy 90th percentile talent of Konnor Griffin, who's going to start the year in the major leagues and get a leg up from a numbers standpoint, it's hard to then just still go back to Konnor Griffin and hope he gets called up in a reasonable amount of time. So my question now to you is, who is your NL Rookie of the Year pick? And before you answer, it's important to remember here on this show, we're going to give our favorite pick. So it's probably a guy top 5 in odds. We might have some chalky picks. Sorry, it's what we actually think is going to happen. Yeah. Now, what we also will do is provide a long shot at 25-1 or better odds. So you're going to get our favorite pick, and you're also going to get our favorite long shot for every category: Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP. I've introed enough. Time to talk awards. Aram, your National League Rookie of the Year favorite pick.
Yeah, so I mean, as much as I want to go with Nolan McLean, I think McLean is probably the best Major League Baseball player, like right now, and the odds reflect that. He's the favorite. How many times do we need to see that this is a hitter award? Like, you got to be out of this world good, and even then, like, it's got to be Paul Skeens good. And
it's Strider versus Michael Harris. Remember the year that Spencer Strider pitched 130 innings, struck out 200 guys, pitched to an ERA in the 2s, and Michael Harris still won, right? So you just got to go with the hitter. And they generally, there's a push and pull because pitchers, easier to get injured. Hitters, it's just harder to hit major league pitching where stuff plays. So it's that balance, but it's clear the voters, whenever they see a tie goes to the hitter.
Tie goes to the hitter, and there's no doubt about that. So that's where I immediately start looking at JJ Weatherholt and Sal Stewart. I think Weatherholt is the best at bat that you're going to get day in and day out. Yeah. And I think that gives him a really, really solid floor. He doesn't have to play short. He's going to defend an above average clip at second base. But I have this feeling that Sal Stewart is just going to mash so much that he ends up taking the award.
Mm.
And that's why Sal Stewart's my pick. At last time I checked, you can correct me if the odds are updated because I'm on the MGM site because I'm in Florida. I don't have the I can't like update it as frequently. I had it at plus 625.
Yep.
Sal, I look at this offense. Sal is going to be in a really good spot to drive in a lot of runs. But at the same time, you look at the Reds, like there's a lot of bats you got to worry about now. And there's a lot of different ways that they can score runs. Whereas I think when Sal got up last year, there was points where I'm like, this might be one of their better hitting power, guys at the end of the year going into the postseason. Is one of the guys that I thought should have got a lot more runway. And we talked about that. But now you have, if Matt McClain is better, the runs that he can create at the top, Ellie De La Cruz, and of course the pressure that he's going to put on defenses and the pressure he's going to put on pitchers, and then Gino Suarez potentially behind him as protection. I think Sal Stewart's in a position where he can really drive in a ton of runs. And then I think about his skill set, guy that posts average or above average contact rates, good recognition of spin, and really, really improved his angles to where he was hitting the ball in the air consistently. And it's plus raw power that he's getting into. It's hard line drives to all fields that I think is just going to be maximized in Great American Ballpark. I think we could end up seeing this guy hitting for power, getting on base at a good clip. He's going to be playing first base mostly as well. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of concern about the glove. I think he could grade out as an above average defender there. And I think someone's going to have to mash to take it away from Weatherholt. I think status quo, it's going to be Weatherholt's award to lose. But I think Sal is going to just do just that in that ballpark with this offense.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I did go with JJ Weatherholt as my favorite pick in the National League. You kind of already said it. It's the best at bat currently, among these guys coming up. And I also think that he has probably a better chance of accumulating WAR, which is certainly helpful in these awards as well. You mentioned already that Sal Stewart is going to be playing a lot of first base. F4 doesn't love a lot of first basemen, so you have to really, really mash. While, second base is not that much big of an upgrade, but every little percentage point matters when I'm trying to calculate who should be the odds-on leader to win National League Rookie of the Year. And I also worry slightly about Sal Stewart because of the team he's on versus the team that JJ Weatherholt is on. There is no debate, zero, who's the second baseman this season for the Cardinals. Kind of doesn't matter how well he plays.
Yeah.
He's just going to play as long as he's not injured. Stewart, it's a little bit better of an offense. They also have a couple of bench pieces. Like, where is Spencer Steer going to fit in throughout this? Is he going to be a utility guy? Will Terry Francona see let's say he goes through a bad May and it's like, all right, I want to give him a couple of off days. And then he's not able to accumulate the amount of games. And it would also mess with his timing, getting consistent off days. So to your point, I do think that he might be a better hitter than JJ Weatherholt this season. Like, I could see that picture, but there are just so many more runways for Weatherholt to continue to accumulate. But to be fair, they aren't the same odds. Weatherholt is plus 500. Sal is plus 625. So you're getting, with your squeeze, a little extra juice. So I can see the argument. I think based on the odds, these two should be the guys that you're looking at. If you disagree with some of my counters, bet Sal Stewart, like Aram said. If you're starting to agree with some of the counters, maybe that's when you go Weatherholt. Do you have any disagreements with what I've said so far?
No, I think that, and this is the biggest part, is like we talk about, I think second base WAR is like, and I got to do more research on this before I just fully make this like a patented take, but I just think second base defensive WAR like gets a little bit too juiced.
Working in our favor.
It's going to work in JJ Weatherholt's favor here. I got a lot of looks at him this spring training at second. His biggest concern was, I think, the fringy arm. He has good range there. His hands are good. I think he's going to grade out as a well above average defender at second. So if he's doing that, and then he's the bat that we think he can be, again, I think it's Weatherholt's award to lose because the floor is so high. I feel so good about a 110 WRC plus and above average defense. And that's well on your way to 3+ WAR. And if nobody, and he could be better than that, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying like what I think is a likely median outcome here.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to overtake that. I just think Sal Stewart could fuck around and hit like 25, 30 home runs. And if he does that, like, then it becomes an interesting conversation. So I think the National League is loaded. And like we talked about, like we're not even mentioning Nolan McLean, who's the favorite.
Yeah.
And then like Carson Bench made the team outright for the Mets. If you've listened to this podcast, if you listen to the call up, you know what I think about Carson Bench. I just think his skill set, he's going to get a lot of hard stuff inside. And they're going to pitch him really tough. And I think he's going to adjust and get there. But, he's another guy where you mentioned runway. Like he's probably not going to face a ton of lefties. He may not, have as much time to struggle if he is. But I also think this is a guy that for not quite dark horse, because he didn't quite meet the 25-1, is absolutely a great value pick there. And I love his skill set. He's going to be an above average defender in a corner. He's going to steal some bags, sneaky power, good bat to ball. I love Bench as well. That's another guy that could be in it. And then all of the quote unquote long shots are all guys that have a legit shot. We're talking about a couple of long shots here that are going to get full runway, I think, this year.
Correct. And to be fair to you, didn't you give out Carson Bench Rookie of the Year like last month and a half ago, like a while ago when he was like 50-1 and we had no idea if he was going to make the team, and you said it earlier. So that can count as your long shot.
Yeah.
Like you gave it out a long time ago, but now for your current long shot based on the odds, where are you leaning?
Yeah, I'm glad he made the team because I really thought there'd be no reason for him not to. Mine is a guy that I was kind of surprised to just see that he was still 25-1 is Moises Ballesteros. Now, look, a lot of pressure on the bat, no doubt about that, because he's not going to catch very much, but I still think they're going to find a way to get him behind the dish, maybe once or twice a week if they can. And I think that'll help just from like a voter outlook, but also just like a positional war outlook if he's okay back there. But also it won't hurt too much if he's bad back there. This guy, I know it was 20 games, but he put up a 143 WRC plus in 20 big league games this past year. And when it comes to like players that are on this range here, he's the best hitter of them. And you honestly talking about like the high floor bats, this is as high floor of a bat as we're going to talk about in the entire Rookie of the Year conversation. The guy rakes. It's similar to Sal, where it's this blend of good feel to hit and then power that blends with it. That's just going to allow him to compile doubles, then probably hit more than 20 homers in their better seasons and push towards 30. He was amazing in his big league debut. He was amazing in AAA. And I think he's going to play a lot for this Cubs team because, well, if there's an injury to a catcher, you know that he's going to plug in there. But also you look at the DH role, and I mean, yeah, he's got to hit to keep it, but I think he's going to hit to keep it. And I don't think there's really anybody standing in his way for the most part to pry it away from him unless he just struggles.
I have nothing against Moises Ballesteros on the Chicago Cubs from a practical standpoint, from a numbers standpoint, but I do have a stupid counter. Are you worried that he already has a nickname and it's sick, Mo Baller? The last time we heard a sick nickname for a guy who hadn't debuted was Jason Dominguez, the Martian. Are you worried about the nickname curse?
I think we're due for
I have nothing about him on the field. It would only be something stupid that I made up in my own head that would hurt him.
I think we're due for a guy with a cool nickname to actually play well. It's been too many good nicknames that just go to waste.
It usually works in the NBA.
Yeah.
But in Major League Baseball, you get a nickname early, forget it.
I don't want it.
Forget it.
No, I don't want it. Just call me my name until I'm good.
Call me my name. So that's Moises Ballesteros is Aram's long shot. What are the odds on that again?
25-1.
25-1. I have another pick at 25-1, but it's a guy I've talked about a lot. And I love the runway. I love the team he's on. I love the role he's in. It's Justin Crawford at 25-1 of the Philadelphia Phillies. So what do I already have? Right, with Mo Baller, I'm going to start calling him Mo Baller because that is a sick nickname. He's got the high floor as a bat, but it's just really hard to hit in Major League Baseball, and he's probably going to DH and maybe catch a little bit, but he's going to have to really hit in order to accumulate F4. Justin Crawford, I think, if he's a bad hitter, will walk into like a 1.5 win season because he has top line speed, enough speed where if he gets on base at a 310 clip, can steal 30 plus bases this year. And he's going to play at least serviceable defense at a premium position in center field. And because he's on a team like the Phillies without other options at center field, because Johan Rojas got hit with a PED suspension, Harrison Bader is gone. They don't have other options to put in center, even if he struggles.
Yeah.
And again, he likely will struggle with the bat at some points during the year. I don't think he's going to struggle defensively, and I don't think he's going to struggle on the base pass. So if he just hits it all, and he's posted high exit velocities in the minor leagues, the issue is he puts everything on.
Yeah, I'll say high exit velo straight into earth. But
how can you overcome that with elite speed? Can he beat out some infield hits? Can he slash like 280, 310, 340 and put up an Xavier Edwards type season? I know I talked about this in the last episode a few episodes ago. X put up a 2.3 F4 season that year.
Yeah.
And I think Crawford might be a better defender at his position. So if I'm looking for guys with runways, I'm looking for a guy to be in the media constantly, big time team like the Phillies, but actually have a runway with said team. And he doesn't have the big risk of getting taken out of the lineup if he struggles. Yeah. The high floor of speed and defense, 25-1, I think is just incorrect. Why didn't I bet it? I think Weatherholt's going to win it. So it's like, I think the odds are off. I think it should be closer to like 15-1. But when you're going up against McClade and Weatherholt and Stewart, it's hard for me to actually put my money on you. But in terms of value, I think he's as good of a value pick as there is.
And then it's crazy. Like in this award, his teammate, Andrew Painter, 25-1, he's in the rotation.
Yep.
Owen Casey, 25-1, he's going to play almost every single day for the Marlins. Like,
yep.
Again, this is why I think the Pirates said, this is not going to be a year where, you're expecting or banking on the PPI that's just so competitive. And we didn't even talk about guys like Bryce Eldridge or Rhett Lauder still eligible, Jet Williams, Ryan Waldschmidt. Like, there's so many interesting players that could make a little run at it. One last fun quirk as it pertains to Justin Crawford. He could also keep himself in the lineup. He had a 971 OPS against left-handed pitching that last year. I don't know if that translates to the big league level. Sometimes the platoon splits don't sustain. But it's good to know that he's not getting decimated by lefties yet, and should get some opportunity to try to succeed, as a player every day that they're not going to potentially shelter as well. So I can't give a prediction on that guy. He breaks my brain as every year trying to rank him as a prospect because I look at the batted ball specs and I don't know how it plays, but it continues to play at every stop. So I can't wait to find out. He's one of the players just in general I'm most excited to follow this year.
Let's move over to the American League Rookie of the Year. And in terms of the betting splits, where the money is coming in on BetMGM for these awards, Kevin McGonigal is getting the highest handle, again, which is highest amount of money bet on him, but he is not BetMGM's biggest liability.
Whoa.
Who is? Chase DeLauder. Chase DeLauder is their biggest liability. Why? It's pretty juicy odds, and everybody's seeing what he's doing in spring training, rifling home runs, putting up solid contact skills, and he's a pretty good defender. Aram, I can see you're a little bit disappointed because you're like, damn it, I've been saying this for a while now, and now everyone's paying attention.
Yeah, I hope I'll just tell myself that maybe I contributed to that like 5%.
I think it's more than 5%. We're sponsored by this thing, and you've been talking about it for a while. I think it's all. I'm gonna take the over on 5%.
He just hit 2 Mammo tanks in Arizona, dead center, then pull side. He's amazing. He can't be my long shot pick because the odds shortened. He was a long shot pick, and then I think because of all the liability, our friends at MGM shortened that thing up a little bit.
That's why we do this deep in the off season, so we get you the actual value. Now we're doing it with updated odds. Sometimes the value is gone, folks. Why? We gave it out a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and that's a guy that I've loved for a long time. It's been all about the health. I've said it 14 times on the podcast. I really do think it's going to be the best blend of hit and power on that team outside of Jose Ramirez this coming season if he's healthy, and so far so good. But he can't be – I almost wanted to pick him as my favorite, but I was just like – I literally think he still is a guy that could just outright win this thing, like outright win it. But also someone that's been singing the praises about Kevin McGonigal for multiple years now.
Yeah, I think you like Kevin McGonigal, don't you? I've heard some good things come out of your mouth about him.
I have 48 of his Bowman Chrome autos to prove it. This guy, like, I just Probably one of my favorite prospects of all time that I've been able to cover, because out of the draft, I loved him. And then just every time I checked in, I'm like, this guy's getting better and better and better. And the big questions were, how much power? What's the defense going to look like? And I kept telling people that this guy's got power. No one's questioning it anymore. But I had to sell people on average power. And I was saying, it's more than that, but you got to believe me, it's at least average. Now I've been trying to sell people on plus power. And I think people are starting to buy into that. We're talking about potential for 60 to 70 grade hit, and then 55 to 60 grade power with plus plate discipline. I think it's his award to lose because of that. There's also a professional that's good. He's going to be competing with, so that's going to be a really, I think fun comparison there. And I know we'll talk more about him, but I also think the fact that McGonigal is going to make all the plays that he needs to make at shortstop. He may not grade out great by the metrics, but I also wonder if they're going to slide him over to third a little bit. Like, I don't know exactly how they're going to use him. I feel like he might get some reps at third. He started the final 3 games of spring training at third base and got as many starts at third base as he did at shortstop. So I think he'll grade out as at least average at third base. And I think he'll be competitive at shortstop. And if he's just that in an aggregate between shortstop and third base, he's, a neutral defender. The bat's going to be so good that I think he's going to be, it's going to be his award to lose.
I think it's Kazuma Okamoto's of the Toronto Blue Jays' award to lose. Now, they're both at the same odds right now on BetMGM. Kazuma Okamoto is plus 400. Kevin McGonigal is plus 400. And if you're telling me they're tied, I'm certainly taking Okamoto. I don't disagree with anything that you just said. I just wonder if he has a higher floor than the guy who has been destroying baseballs in the MPB for a while now. Yep. And came over and got the biggest deal of all the MPB signees between Munetaka Murakami, Tatsuya Imai, and Kazuma Okamoto got the biggest bag. And when we're talking about power, you're talking about Kevin McGonigal kind of growing into said power. Kazuma Okamoto in 2023 hit 41 jacks in the MPB, right? 27 in 2024. He only played 69 games in 2025. But he hit 15 home runs, slashed 327, 416, 598, and walked as much as he struck out. And it wasn't because he has a really high walk rate. He struck out 11.3% of the time. Now, am I expecting him to put up those numbers in Major League Baseball? Of course not. But if I were to trust the young guy over the 29-year-old who has a ton of professional baseball under his belt, and you're also talking about, McGonigal's defense, like, is it at short? Is it at third? I know Kazuma Okamoto can play third. And I also know that Kazuma Okamoto will play third for the Toronto Blue Jays. They have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base. I've already seen some great plays at third, whether that be in spring training or the World Baseball Classic from Okamoto. So I have a much longer track record of success in professional baseball. I have the potential for power. And the Blue Jays IDing him as one of their guys almost makes me feel better about him. Because the Blue Jays' identity is don't strike out, put up good at bats, make consistent contact. And they ID'd Kazuma Okamoto as a part of that identity. I love the fit for him there. I really like the player. And I think he's in a position to succeed immediately.
Yeah.
So for McGonigal, I could see it clearly, especially if he locks in at shortstop and starts playing good defense. Because he can put together a similar offensive season. But if he gets that, you're going to win.
Yeah.
I think that might be the separator here, though. And that's why I'm going to go with Okamoto at 4-1.
Yeah, I think he's going to play McGonigal. It seems like he may break in at third. I think there he's going to grade out well. But at the end of the day, both these guys, I think the bats are going to be, it's going to be interesting to see, like, if it's 115, 120 WRC pluses, and then the defense is a separator, or do one of these guys just pop? And
yeah,
I think either can. The projections for McGonigal are pretty wild to see for a rookie on Fangraphs, and I'm not huge into that, but I think it also is backed by, he's been one of the best minor league hitters we've seen in a very, 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 very long time. So if anybody can make up that gap, to what you mentioned, because I think it's whenever you have an established star from NPB come over, it should be his award to lose, and I totally understand and follow that logic. But if there's one stateside minor leaguer that can maybe chip away at that, it's probably the guy that's put up maybe some of the best plate discipline and bat to ball in the minor leagues that we've seen, and like maybe since Wander Franco, like maybe since some of those guys.
Wow. So those are our favorite picks. Arm's going with Kevin McGonigal at plus 400 on BetMGM, and I'm going with Kazuma Okamoto at plus 400 on BetMGM. What about your long shot in the American League?
Yeah, the long shot is where I initially had one. And I'm like, I'll get to him. It's really tough to play out the scenario, but Colt Emerson is my long shot for the Mariners. I think there's a pretty reasonable path here for him to get up to the big leagues and help this team that is clearly going to be all out in win now mode. And the acquisition of Brendan Donovan, you might think, oh, well, that blocks him. I think the exact reason why they went after a versatile defender like Brendan Donovan is so that they don't block their clear-cut number one prospect, Colt Emerson. I talked to Justin Toole, the director of player development for the Mariners, and he just continued to rave about, one, how ahead of his years Colt Emerson is, and two, the glove and how far that's come along. I don't think there's any questions about the bat and where that's at. And he had a really nice spring. He had a fantastic finish to the season at Double-A and then a taste of Triple-A where he continued to rake. And I think he's going to start the year in the PCL where he's just going to continue to rake. And there's a couple of different ways a spot can open up for him. One of Luke Raley or Dominic Canzone don't hit. And I think there's a very real scenario where one of those guys is not going to hit. I just think it's fair. And then also,
wait, hold on. I think that's so fair.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of gloss over that. It's totally a fair assessment.
And then JP Crawford's banged up. If that ends up being more of an issue, then that could be another area where you end up seeing him get up there. So what they do is that I think move Brendan Donovan to the outfield, and then you bring up Emerson. And I think that is why they acquired a guy that doesn't block their top prospect and could still make their team better. That is where I think Emerson ends up fitting in. It's a blend of hit and power as well that I always just love in these higher floor prospects. And then the defensive ability, and then a little bit of speed on the base paths. That I think that's another underrated part of his game that he can lean into more. I think Emerson at 30-1 for the Mariners in a team in win now mode where he doesn't need to be the 5 hitter for them. He could be the 7 or 8 hitter. He could be the 9 hitter. I think he could be put in a position for success.
So my only question for you is, you already kind of broke down how he could get playing time. Just give me a general gauge of how many games you think he plays this year.
That's the big question. And I think it's two things. I think he's going to torch the PCL. So when he does that, does that put a little bit more pressure on what they've got going on up there? I think he can get up there within the first couple months of the season. If he does that, I think he could play 110, 120 games. Okay. It's going to be hard because of how good the American League is. And that's why any long shot just feels really difficult.
Yeah.
Like I was going to go with Dylan Beavers, but he was just shorter than our long shot odds there.
Yeah, he's 22-1. So for Orioles fans wondering about Dylan Beavers, technically didn't count for the exercise that we're trying to do, which 25-1. I also wanted to go with Dylan Beavers. I think that price is absolutely a great one, but just for the exercise, he didn't qualify.
So I think he can get 120 games. It's just, is that going to be enough with this group? Probably not, unless he goes absolutely crazy. And then the other one I tease really quickly is Leo DeVries. I don't think he's going to get up quick enough, but I just want you to put your tinfoil cap on real quick and think about this. Peyton just put out a video on his social media account, and we were driving together doing a spring breakout road trip when he was, kind of putting together and splicing up the numbers. Leo DeVries got up to Double-A on August 20th. And from that point through the postseason there, proceeded to put up an OPS over 1,000. You combine that in with the spring training performance that he put up with the big leagues. You have 43 games here where Leo DeVries between Double-A and big league spring training is hitting 351, 412, 662. That's 1,072 OPS, 11 homers in that span, and 19% K rate. There's a clear need for third base. I think he could play shortstop, but for a team that, look, if they're in the wild card hunt and they're feeling it and they just, Max Muncy's not doing it, Gelof's not back, and DeVries is just torching the upper minors, who knows? Maybe we get a 19-year-old up there who would be very rewarded. It's all about angles. He lifts the ball really well. In Sacramento there, could absolutely demolish. And this is just a guy that just might be a wonderkind type of talent. At like 66-1, I can't fully rule it out. But I think it's a little bit more pie in the sky for me to have given as my long shot.
So I really like the pitch. Can I give you one more reason why I'm also leaning towards at least a little bit of a sprinkle on Leo DeVries? Podcast P, can you throw up his graphic again real quick for us, for all those watching live on YouTube? Aram, look at those man eyebrows.
Those are some
He's got some, you call him a teenager, like that's a man who's growing. Those are some man brows.
Yeah, he's got me beat.
So maybe that's why he's not 70-1.
It's crazy. He was 18 at the end of last year still, too. So he's 19 for the entirety of the season. I just think it's good vibes right now in Sacramento. They may try to extend him. Like it could be a situation where we see him aggressively pushed.
Makes you remember how good of a prospect A-Rod was, because A-Rod skipped the minor leagues and started on opening day as an 18-year-old. I was watching Alex versus A-Rod, the documentary. It's pretty awesome. It's a really good documentary, actually. I really enjoyed it. And just remembering, I was like thinking about greatest prospects of my lifetime. Like I wasn't born, I don't think, when A-Rod was a prospect. When A-Rod was 18 years old. I'm not sure, but whatever. He's like one of the greatest prospects. Like considering Lou
was a prospect, he got up so quick.
Exactly. Like he skipped being a prospect. That's how good he was. All right, now for my long shot, I'm going 80-1 because again, I feel so good about Okamoto, and if he doesn't win, I feel so good about McGonigal. Like I feel so good about Carter Jensen. Like I think Dylan Beavers could win. Like there's so much talent. I'm so excited for not only this year, but baseball's future. A rookie of the year class in both leagues loaded like this. We're so lucky. So if I'm going to go long shot, let me go real long shot. Let me go no chance, but maybe, just maybe, Emmanuel Rodriguez stays healthy for the Minnesota Twins. And just maybe he gets called up, because Emmanuel Rodriguez has destroyed the minor leagues at every level. In 2023, he got up to high A, 147 WRC plus in 99 games. He had 16 homers and 20 steals, walked 20% of the time. In 2024, getting up to AAA, it was a 180 WRC plus with a 24% walk rate, 9 homers, 9 steals in 47 games. Last year in AAA, it was only 52 games, but he put up a 134 WRC plus. That's it. 134 WRC plus. So he's just, and I know you can give even more color than I can, has destroyed every level. He's just never healthy. And who has openings in their outfield potentially? The Minnesota Twins. So if he hits the ground running, they might want to soak up all of those games that he's actually playing. And then who knows? Maybe he stays healthy. But the bat itself is special.
Well, he has the upside to be as good as any of the players that we're going to name here. Like if it all works out, and he went to the Lidom for 18 games if you include the All-Star game, and he put up an 1143 OPS there and hit 5 homers. So like when he's on the field, it's been without a doubt great. He can steal bags, he can play above average defense in center, he can hit the shit out of the ball, and he's going to walk. So at 80-1, yeah, and I think he's going to get an opportunity sooner rather than later. I think there's a lot of reason to call Rodriguez up before Walker Jenkins. So I think at that value, yeah, it's a great long shot pick.
So those are our rookie of the year picks. Remind the audience of all of yours so far. National League and American League, both your favorite in long shot.
I went favorite Sal Stewart. Long shot, I went with, why am I forgetting? Oh, Moises Ballesteros. And then the American League favorite was Kevin McGonigal. Long shot, we thought about Leo DeVries, but we went with Colt Emerson.
So I'm doing Kazuma Okamoto is my favorite in the American League Rookie of the Year race, and my long shot, Emmanuel Rodriguez at 80-1. At least sprinkle maybe a few shekels on that one. National League Rookie of the Year, my favorite is JJ Weatherholt at plus 500, and my long shot is Justin Crawford at 25-1. When we get back, we are going to talk Cy Young and MVP, and we'll end the show with the Giants versus Yankees preview. Podcast Pete, can we get our first whoosh? And we are back. Thank you to everybody again joining us live here on YouTube. If you're enjoying the stream so far, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. And if you're listening on audio, a 5-star review greatly helps the show as we start our in-season coverage. For all those watching on YouTube, you see me smiling from ear to ear. I cannot wait. But now it's time to talk about the Cy Young. Again, another reminder, our favorite and a long shot. Your long shot has to be at least 25-1. Aram, let's start in the National League because we did that for the Rookie of the Year. Is your pick Paul Skeens to win Cy Young like mine is?
Good.
Sorry.
I'm not going to lie to our audience to be edgy.
Either.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. It's the guy that's the best pitcher by a lot. It's just Paul Skeens. There's not much else to say.
I mean, I love Christopher Sanchez. He could absolutely win it, but Paul Skeens is better. So, I mean,
there's going to be a couple spots. I think this spot, I think the American League's a little bit more of a conversation, but this spot and NL MVP, where the only way that I could pitch you on somebody else in my eyes is if Skeens or Ohtani gets hurt, and I'm just not going to do that. So I think they're that much better. That said, Christopher Sanchez is so freaking good. And there's a little bit of luck involved, right? And maybe the Pirates defense is just so freaking bad that Sanchez just has this perfect season. That's the only way I could really see it. But again, I have to really create this crazy scenario for me to not go with the best pitcher in baseball, or at least, but clearly in the National League.
Yeah, you could make an argument that Christopher Sanchez might be a better value play.
Yes.
Right? If he's at plus 500, Skeens is at plus 200, and you're saying the gap between them isn't that big, the value is on Sanchez, sure. But if I'm picking who I think is going to win the Cy Young, it's still Paul Skeens with a 6-pitch mix that he can command anywhere in the zone. And knowing Paul Skeens, he might add a new pitch this year that we haven't even seen displayed, right? And he throws 99. And I guess you could say, well, will his ERA continue to be below 2 with the defense behind him?
That's the only thing.
I guess. But at the same time, like, does Sanchez have the ability to post an ERA under 2? I love Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies. Paul Skeens is just better. I don't know what else to say. But one thing I want to bring up, I love Cubs fans. The National League Cy Young handle over at BetMGM. Paul Skeens, highest handle. But the biggest liability, Cubs fans, stand up. Cade Horton. I have seen, oh my gosh, Aram, I dropped a predictions video where I had the Cubs finishing first in the division over the Brewers. It would be their first division title since 2020. I did say I slightly lean under on their win total because I have them projected for 88 wins, and they are 88.5. What do you think Cubs fans focused on?
That you have them under 88, 89.
Exactly. And it's like, we won 92 games last year. We're going to win 110 games, and Cade Horton's the best pitcher alive. I am going to be at Wrigley on March 26th for opening day. I cannot wait. And it's so great to be around Cubs fans because the optimism is just beaming. And that optimism has resulted in Cade Horton. Even though, like, do you know how many bets have to be on Cade Horton? I think he's 66-1 to win Cy Young, to outdo 64% of the money being on Paul Skeens at 2-1.
That's a great point.
You have to bet. I mean, it's not crazy,
but there's a lot of money being put on Cade Horton, and I know it's not by anybody other than Cubs fans.
Think about it. 64% of the total money bet on the National League Cy Young on BetMGM is on Paul Skeens at 2-1. Cade Horton is still the liability.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
that's your long
shot. That's their pick.
Yeah, he's not my long shot. I like him. Good pitcher. Not my long shot.
Not my long shot. I have a bet at longer odds, who I think is more talented than Cade Horton.
Wow.
And is in the division. Bubba Chandler. 100-1. Here's how I view it. Bubba Chandler in a vacuum, I think has, maybe I'm going overboard, top 15 stuff in the National League.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just stuff in a vacuum. Not a lot of innings under his belt. But if he is able to run wild and that stuff plays, you can't tell me he's not going to be in the conversation. And now when we're talking about guys who are at 100-1, we're talking about like Brady Singer. With all due respect to Brady Singer, Bubba Chandler and Brady Singer do not have close to the same stuff. Bubba Chandler is a lightning rod. Podcast P is flashing his clips right now. That's 100 at the top of the zone, an elite breaking ball. And he also has that ace bravado that I love. He's so confident in himself. He told Paul Skeens before last season, you better enjoy opening day because I'm coming for it. I want that guy, right? He's another guy, right? One of the 30 reasons you love Nolan McLean. Not a lot of innings on that arm because he was a two-way guy. Like Bubba Chandler played football as well, so pitching is relatively new to him. I know I'm kind of exaggerating, but he doesn't have as many innings on that arm. So if he is just fully unleashed this year, the stuff could play at a top 15 level. That'll at least put him in the conversation, where I think Brady Singer will be nowhere close to the conversation. Again, it's just about value. I saw that name at 100 to 1, and I said, that's wrong. Well, now, is he going to beat Paul Skeens? Probably not. But 100 to 1, I think there's value.
I think him and Chase Burns are very similar. Maybe there's some things that Burns is a little bit better, but I also think that's a little bit of a deeper bag from at least at this point with the third pitch. Maybe the second pitch from Burns is better, but the third pitch is better.
Real quick, Chase Burns is 65 to 1.
Exactly.
And not starting the year in the major leagues.
That was going to be the point. That kind of shows you the gap there. My long shot's like kind of a cop out because it's really, but it's also part of the argument, I guess. Jesus Luzardo's 28 to 1. Yeah. And Jesus Luzardo was, I think he finished top 5 in Cy Young voting this past year. And we talked about it on the show. I know we don't like the game. If you remove the 2 starts, he has this or that is a little bit funky, but Podcast P came on the show when I was alluding to this and, provided context. It was the worst 2-start stretch in Major League Baseball history. He allowed 20 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. So clearly something was very off then. Even with the worst 2-start stretch in Major League Baseball history, the guy was, a finalist for Cy Young. If you remove those 2 starts, he probably was a top 3 guy, and his ERA was 3.03 with a 2.74 FIP in 178 innings. If you remove the worst 2-start stretch in Major League Baseball history. And that wasn't in August or July. That was from the end of May to the first start in June. So he shook that off and was phenomenal the rest of the way. Again, I think it's going to be hard for him to get it, but he got his bag. I think he could pitch a little bit more freely, and he looks like he was pitching freely last year, but now he can really pitch freely. And this is a guy that, the talent has never been the question. He's always had Cy Young stuff, and I think he showed that last year. And I think with a couple less blips in the radar, he can really be in that conversation. I was just surprised to see 10 pitchers ahead of him in the odds.
I think you're right. What about this last from our YouTube comment section? You're right. It's got to be Quintana's year, then over in Colorado, place your bets.
I like it. I like it.
Or
Guy gets outs.
Guy gets outs. All right. So those are our picks for National League Cy Young. Let's move over to the American League. Again, I'm Paul Skeens and Bubba Chandler. You are Paul Skeens and Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo is a much better bet than Bubba Chandler. But I just saw Bubba Chandler. 100. And I think my reasoning was I just think Paul Skeens or Christopher Sanchez just wins it. But if I want to go real long shot, I might as well go crazy. It's kind of like why I won 80 to 1 in the rookie of the year. But I think Luzardo's odds are off as well. He's a guy who, if you haven't had your fantasy baseball drafts, make sure you grab him. I grabbed him in my fantasy baseball league. Make sure you grab Jesus Luzardo. So American League Cy Young. I hate being boring, but I also don't want to just lie to our audience and be edgy like I picked Skubal to win his 3rd straight. I think he could win the MVP. The guy is a monster. I mean,
I thought about Crochet just because I think Crochet, because when we're talking about a guy that 2 guys that are elite, right? Absolutely elite. Sometimes it could just be circumstantial. That's the difference with some of the numbers that we look at. But then I thought about it. I'm like, Skubal's pitching on a contract here, dude, where he wants to go get $500 million and he might get it. I can't bet against that. I do think that Crochet could be so good. And then again, the circumstantial ERA difference, we talk a lot about how sometimes ERA doesn't tell the whole story, but of course it's still going to be part of the story that the voters look at. Crochet's strikeout numbers could just be so crazy, but I think it's reflected in the odds. And what I'm looking at is Crochet's 3 to 1 or Crochet's 4 to 1 and Skubal's 3 to 1. So these are guys that are pretty close here. I also think Hunter Brown can make a run at this thing too. I think he is a special arm. I know he hasn't done it as long as some of these other guys, but he's a special arm. It's Skubal for me too. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. Like I even think he's
I agree.
Micro edge above Paul Skeens.
Me too.
And if that's what I think, when we just said how much of a layup it is for Skeens, so to speak, I think it's his award. But I think Crochet's right there too.
I think Crochet is right there in terms of talent. However, if I think Skubal is slightly more talented, and I know that Skubal is facing more American League Central lineups in Comerica versus Crochet pitching in Fenway against American League East lineups, Crochet's got a bigger mountain to climb than Skubal does. And if I already think Skubal's a little bit more talented and the odds are only separated 3-1 to 4-1, there's just no basis for me to go with Crochet, even though I believe Garrett Crochet is the third best overall pitcher in baseball.
Yeah,
I think the world of Crochet. I bet him 11-1 to lead MLB in strikeouts last year. Cash. If you want more of my futures and my opening day pick, go check out our Discord. Link in the episode description. Quick plug. Back to the argument. I think Crochet is as good as it gets. Skubal is better than that. And he's got an easier track. It's got to be Skubal. Your long shot.
I'm going to take a guy that I think is going to be the ace of his team. And I just don't think he's getting enough recognition of such. And it's Kyle Bradish at 40-1 for the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Bradish returned from Tommy John surgery. So I understand that that was going to be a little bit of a reason why you kind of forget about the guy. But Bradish, when he returned, he made 6 starts at the end of the year last year. And in those 6 starts, he threw 32 innings. He pitched to a 2.53 ERA. He struck out 37% of batters. 37. I think this guy is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And through the spring, it has been more of the same. I think he's going to come back. He already has come back stronger. The sweeper is disgusting. He's got the sinker, the cutter, the curveball as well. It's a deep bag of pitches, a lot of different looks he can give you. He works east-west well, but he can still go north-south. So the ability to go all 4 quadrants, get ground balls, get whiff. I think he's going to be the best pitcher in the Orioles. And I think Trevor Rogers is going to validate what he did last year. I don't think he said throw to a sub-2, obviously. I think Trevor Rogers is going to continue it. But Kyle Bradish's stuff with the horizontal separation between the sinker and the sweeper, and then that cutter as the bridge, and then the curveball is disgusting. This is a ridiculous 4-pitch mix, and a guy that has the proof of concepts. He's been great when he's on the mound, and I think we see the best of Kyle Bradish this year.
So you're not the only one that thinks that. Podcast P, can you let the people know?
Damn it!
Bet a lot. So on BetMGM, the highest amount of tickets are on Kyle Bradish, and BetMGM's biggest liability is Kyle Bradish. Welcome to the public and Orioles fandom, Aram.
Damn it. Not a sharp pick. No. It was internal brace. Okay, here's the thing. Do we call internal brace Tommy John? Because I've seen it still referred to as Tommy John. Now, of course, it is way shorter timeline, but some people get Tommy John with the internal brace, but it's still a UCL surgery. Do we
Whenever I have questions about that, I always go to Twitter. Did you know how many Twitter doctors there are? Everybody is
I do.
Everyone's really good at designating injury, and then they watch a guy with a funky arm angle, and they say he's meant for Tommy John.
Yes.
As soon as they see him, there's a lot of smart people on Twitter being doctors.
Yes, there's a lot of Twitter. I'm looking at the headlines. Kyle Bradish has Tommy John surgery. Okay, so that's what we'll call it. Damn it! I still love the pick. I really do.
No,
this guy's disgusting.
But did you notice that I didn't counter with any baseball argument? All I did was just tell you the odds because I don't have anything to disagree with your pitch.
Yes. Internal John or Tommy Brace. Tommy Brace is actually great for the hybrid. I'm going to start calling it that.
Tommy Brace is a cool like baseball name.
Yeah.
Tommy Brace is up to bat. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, now it's time for my long shot, and I'm not a square like Aram. I believe in this man. And if you've been listening to the show throughout the offseason, you should already know who I'm talking about. Mackenzie freaking Gore at 40-1. I believe. I just believe.
Hey, if it was a first half award, he wins it last year, probably.
Exactly. I could cash out, right? We could get a better cash out button. No. Mackenzie Gore in the first half with the Washington Nationals was one of the best pitchers in baseball, period. Any league. He's pitching to an ERA in low threes, high twos, and that was with horrible defense behind him. His underlying metrics were much better. He was leading Major League Baseball in strikeouts. This guy was the ace we were promised when people made Clayton Kershaw comps to him. This was the piece in the Soto deal. This was what it is. And besides the numbers, I watch a lot of baseball. And I know I can't quantify this, and it might be a stupid take. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. When I'm watching him on my TV, there's a certain energy he gives off. There's a certain confidence that he has where I'm thinking to myself, I want that guy in a big moment. He hasn't even been in any big moments yet, but I was like, I know that guy, push comes to shove, mentally he's going to be good. Now, second half, he was abysmal. So was James Wood. So was CJ Abrams. The entire Nationals team was downright dog shit.
Yeah.
Now he goes over to Texas. And it's clear they got a good pitching program over there.
I was going to say, definitely.
And you got Eovaldi and you got DeGrom. I think from a pure talent perspective right now, Gore can go head-to-head with any of those two guys. And I'm big on the Rangers this year. I sprinkled on their pennant. I think they are the perfect boom or bust team. I could be totally wrong. They could go 81-81. But if we're talking about capitalizing on upside, I bet Skip Schumacher manager of the year 18-1. I bet Rangers plus 1,400 to win the pennant. And I'm really liking Mackenzie Gore 40-1 to win Cy Young. Why didn't I bet it? I think Skubal wins. I think Gore could be awesome and Skubal still wins because he's just better at pitching than he is. But if it all clicks over a season, say goodnight. He's got 5 pitches working. It's deception. He extends down the mound. He can strike out 12 per 9. He's like Cole Reagans, except a little bit better when he's on. And Cole Reagans is 5th in Cy Young odds. Deservedly so. Cole Reagans is amazing. But Gore has that. Yeah. So I'm all over Mackenzie Gore. I'm all over the Rangers. Again, I'm not betting him over wins. I'm not even betting division. I want the upside. I want to capitalize on peak. Mackenzie Gore, 40-1, my Cy Young pick.
Hey, the peak is there, and the infrastructure. I think when he got lost last year, now the Nationals have that infrastructure a little bit more, but last year I don't think they had the ability to be able to help get guys right. They've got a lot more technology and things going on there, but I think there's a lot more resources at Gore's disposal and a lot better pitching minds there in Texas that's going to help him maintain maybe the good stretches.
So my picks are Skubal and Mackenzie Gore. You are Skubal and
Bradish.
Kyle Bradish of the Baltimore Orioles. The square pick. Shout out Orioles fans. Bunch of squares. Shout out Aram. Bunch of squares. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, biggest liability. It's also early. Not everyone has put in all their picks yet. So I just thought it was a funny.
I should have went to my 100-1. I just got to go push all my chips forward on this guy. But
might as well grab that upside.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk National League MVP. Shohei Ohtani is minus 145. Should be minus 150. Give me Shohei Ohtani to win MVP. If we're talking about biggest liability, Shohei Ohtani's getting 62% of the bets. Shout out Philly Nation. Biggest liability, though, is Bryce Harper. It's the same thing in the Cubs conversation. Ohtani's getting 60% of the bets. The Cubs conversation is much larger, though, because Skeen's getting 60% of the bets at 2-1. Ohtani's getting 60% of the bets at minus 145. And Kate Horton is still the biggest liability. Shout out Philly. Bryce Harper is the biggest liability. But Soto's getting a lot of smaller bets. I mean, if Ohtani throws 100 innings, I don't know how he doesn't win MVP. I know it's chalk, but what am I going to pick against the greatest player I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes?
Again, yeah, the only way that Ohtani doesn't win it is health related, and I'm not picking based on that. I think if he throws 80 innings, it's a wrap. It's 80 innings. That's more than if he throws 80 innings at a 2.8 or low 3s ERA, he's one of the best hitters in the game, and then a really valuable relief pitcher by usage. So, it's his award, and we might as well just rename it the Shohei Ohtani Award until he retires or stops doing both.
I could see that.
It might
name the MVP after Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I don't think that would be crazy. I mean, Barry Bonds does have 7. But could Ohtani get more? I don't know. One thing that I do want to mention, because there isn't much analysis about Ohtani. We all know who he is. He's the best player, I think, ever. I did fade him in a category this year. I took his under 148 and a half strikeouts on BetMGM. And a big reason why is I don't think he's going to have the innings to get there. It just came out, and I actually bet this a month ago, but it just came out that they're considering a piggyback with Robleski or Knack. I mean, they have a bunch.
They've already told us that they don't care about March or April, May, June. Yeah. It's all about having these guys ready in August, September, October.
And Ohtani, this isn't a fade on, I think Ohtani's going to start striking out less guys. No, he's amazing. He's going to strike out like 11 and a half per nine, which is his career. Actually, career 11.4 K per nine for Ohtani, the pitcher. He's outrageous. He's a different breed. But to get there, you're going to have to throw like 120 plus innings.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. I don't see a reason to. They want these innings to be there in the playoffs. I don't think they push him that far at all. I think he gives them 100 innings this year and is really good in those innings. And after that announcement, it dropped to 143 and a half. I would still take it. My projection is 134. So I'm still way under.
Still waltzing to the MVP, though, to the point. So
exactly. Like 100 innings as a pitcher and he hits 50 home runs. I mean,
long shot here was kind of impossible because I don't really like any of the long shot picks.
I don't like any of them.
I think the only guys that I really could see winning it other than Ohtani, like let's say something circumstantially happens, that I just like is just a guy that could out slug Ohtani like in the perfect year is Soto and Acuna with what Acuna brings to the table. Otherwise, like I start to really like I feel like I'm reaching. I put Elly De La Cruz based on the odds, just because the parlay of everything going right, he steals freaking 100 bags and does everything, like maybe in that ballpark, sure, but it's also like a career 110 WRC plus. So like, I didn't feel really good about any long shot. I think Soto and Acuna have a shot, but those aren't long shot odds. So I just went with Elly. I just went with the biggest freak that's outside of the 25-1 odds.
I couldn't agree with you more. So I just went a different direction. I didn't pick a hitter. And I thought if anyone could beat him, maybe it's a dominant pitching season.
It's like the best pitching season we've ever seen or something.
Yeah, like if Paul Skeens develop a 100-mile-an-hour splinter, or his curveball now he throws 95 miles an hour or something.
Yeah.
I 40-1 Paul Skeens MVP. I wouldn't bet it, but this is the exercise. We got to pick a long shot.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. Again, it would be Soto and Acuna, like you just said. So if I'm searching for a hitter, I don't think the hitters would even be better than Acuna or Soto. So then I just got to go a different direction. And I almost thought, I was like, what are Mason Miller's odds? But then I was like, no way.
Just no earned runs in 100 innings.
He just keeps up this streak.
Yeah, if he goes, if Mason Miller goes like 2 earned runs in 85 innings with a 45% K rate, can you win the MVP?
I don't know.
No, still, I think.
I mean, I remember like these great reliever seasons. Like I remember Zach Britton like didn't allow a run for like 2 years and he finished like 3rd in Cy Young.
Yeah.
It's like, how would they win the MVP? I looked at Mason Miller's odds though, 250-1, and I was like, maybe. No. Paul Skeens 40-1. Don't bet it though.
Yeah.
I mean, actually now I'm saying that it's gonna hit. That's the only one that's going to hit. No. So again, Arm's got Shohei Ohtani and Elly De La Cruz. I have Shohei Ohtani and Paul Skeens. Now moving over to American League MVP. Sell me on someone other than Judge, please, because
I'm going
okay. My pick is Aaron Judge.
I like a gun to my head. I'm going Judge because I want to live. But I actually think I think there is a legit case here, and it's not to indict Judge. Look at, and I understand that Cal Raleigh had one of the best catcher seasons, maybe the best catcher season we've ever seen, right? But I also think Bobby Witt Jr. can put up, and we've already seen, some of the best shortstop seasons we've ever seen, right? Cal almost took that thing from Judge, and Judge should have won it. Like, I love Cal. Judge should have won it. They were only 4 first-place votes apart and 20 total voting points apart. I mean, it was a razor-thin finish for AL MVP voting. I think Judge is probably going to duplicate the season, something similar. I think there's going to be voter fatigue with Judge. I think we already started to see it with the award last year. And I think if Bobby Witt Jr. puts up a 10 to 11 WAR season, which we saw 10.5, walls are moved in 10 feet.
Mhm.
He could hit 40. He could steal 50 plus. If he plays elite defense and Judge is slightly worse than last year, which by the way would still be one of the better seasons we've seen. If he's a 195 WRC plus, I think voters pit Judge against himself. I think voters are eager to anoint a new MVP. I think how close it was last year is a little bit of a tip to that. And I just think it's possible. And I'm not saying it would be fair, but I think it's possible that Bobby Witt Jr. could just steal this thing from Aaron Judge.
So while I agree with you, it's possible. Do I think it's worth the bet? No. And the reason for that is Bobby Witt Jr. is amazing. And I just don't want this counter argument to make anyone else think I think anything less of him. My top 100 comes out tomorrow. Spoiler alert, he's 3. I think, and I've been tweeting basically every single time he made a diving play during the World Baseball Classic. I'm like, he better be number 3 on everybody's list. This is our A-Rod. This is our Cal Ripken. This is our Jeter. This is one of the best shortstops. I think that he's going to go down, right? Does he beat Honus Wagner? That's for the old heads to decide. Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Kembo that one.
That'll be an off-season. That'll be an off-season debate for us. I'll be on Honus Wagner, by the way. What would he have to do to beat Judge? Because I also think to myself, Bobby Witt Jr. put together a 130 WRC plus last year. Aaron Judge is over 200. There's like a 70-point gap in WRC plus.
Yeah.
Like, that's like
and
the
the year before.
It's like the difference between Juan Soto and a 100 WRC plus guy.
And this probably helps your point. The year before, Bobby Witt, put the 170, 160 something WRC plus and was 10.5 WAR. And he was the runner-up for AL MVP to Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
He didn't get a single first place vote. So
it's just, and the odds aren't even good enough to like try.
Yeah, you probably talk me out of it too. I think there's a chance compared to the Ohtani thing because of those factors.
Yes. But
yeah, he's going to have to hit. He's going to have to, which he's just not going to do. It's not the player that he is. He's going to have to go like 50 homers or something like that. And I just don't think it's possible, but that's not who Bobby is. Like he's going to be a guy that's hitting a lot of homers, but also hitting a lot of doubles and creating runs and doing different things. So if it's 40-40 with elite defense and a 10.5, 11 WAR,
I think he's got to hit like 350 on top of that.
Yeah.
Judge is going to hit 330 with 55 to 60 jacks and good defense in right field. That's why over the last 4 seasons, he's been a 10 WAR player or above, 11 win seasons in 2 of them.
And the arm is back.
The only year that he didn't was the year that he crunched his foot into a wall.
Yeah.
And he was a 6-win player. I mean,
he tried. I changed mine for the graphic.
If Bobby Witt Jr.
the people are going to think I'm a bullshitter. It's performative. I tried. I really tried.
But again,
give it out. Give it out. So just in case something happens, people will think I'm a genius. And if it doesn't happen, they'll forget.
Let's have some fun with some long shots now that aren't going to hit. Rangers upside. Give me Wyatt Langford 40-1 to win MVP. I mean, we know the calculus. Wyatt Langford has the ability to be a 40-40 guy as well.
Yeah.
With great defense. But even if he does, he's not going to beat Aaron Judge. So it's like, why even give the
No, I think the exercise of the long shot is like just who can have the 8 WAR season. Like, 'cause the long shot in this instance, it would be if Judge smashed his toe again or something like that, right? So like, and again, we're not hoping for that, but we're talking about a long shot now. So like, this is a guy that outside of 25-1 odds can have a 7+ WAR season, 100%. Like Wyatt Langford is that guy. Spring training he had is absolutely comical. He's not whiffing. He's not chasing. And he's hitting the living piss out of the ball. Do you know what his hard hit rate was in spring training? Wyatt Langford's?
Probably 70%.
Very close. 74.
Oh my gosh.
74. This guy will eventually, I think, have a really good shot to win an MVP because he's 24 years old for the entirety of this year, and Aaron Judge is not going to play forever, right? It's not going to happen this year, but this is the guy that long shot wise has the speed, power, the defense is leaps and bounds better. It's actually good now, especially in a corner. And the bat to ball, he's got it all. He's a 5-tool player. He's going to get there one day. I don't think it's now, but for a long shot at 40-1, I'm with you.
He can play great defense in center field too. Again, it's that premium position, keeps adding to his F4. So yeah, Wyatt Langford is definitely my pick. While you give your pick, I'm going to close my blinds because I don't know if anyone could see me on YouTube. I'm starting to light up like a Christmas tree because of the sun. Arm, give your long shot.
It's the same one, man. I can't go anywhere else long shot wise. Like, I would like to try to talk myself into Jordan. He needs to be on like a load management program. So I gotta go with Wyatt Langford, especially like I know they're gonna do the Evan Carter thing. If they end up putting Langford into center, he graded out as an above average, potentially even better than that defender in a small sample in center field. If he's playing plus defense there with plus base running, plus power, good on base skills, good bat to ball, like this guy could very well turn in a 7-WAR season this year. I don't think that's crazy. Again, that's not going to beat Judge, but at 40-1, I think he's a guy that's going to leapfrog a lot of the players ahead of him.
I agree with you. I think this is the best value. Any thoughts on this? I know we're going to talk we're going to have a debate about Roman Anthony. I'm already ready for it tomorrow. Where's the Roman love? Again, I just think it's too early. I think he
also doesn't fit our long shot odds, which is crazy, which I think is a crazy bad price. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's 16-1. Just to put it in perspective, that ties him with Vlad Guerrero Jr. for MVP odds and Jose Ramirez. And I love Roman, but
I think people are going to hate on my ranking for him.
I probably will.
People are going to freak out because apparently he's already a top 20 player after 70 games. I can't get there. And I know Podcast P vehemently disagrees with me about Roman Anthony. And I'm sure you and Jack might as well about the ranking, but that's teasing tomorrow. But we still got more on this show. Before we get another quick whoosh, we're going to talk Giants Yankees. And I said before the whoosh, it's actually after the whoosh. Peyton, can you give me a whoosh? Horrible segue into our Yankees versus Giants opening day preview on Wednesday on Netflix. I got a couple of stat nuggets for you, and then we could just kind of talk about the game, right? So 7 p.m. Eastern, Max Fried against Logan Webb in San Francisco. The money line right now is about -120 on BetMGM, and you're getting about even money on the Giants side. I ran the model, and I got -114 Yankees, +114 Giants, so no value for me. I also looked at our friends at Ballpark Pal. We have a new partnership with them. Make sure to go check them out. Great model, tons of weather stuff, tons of stats, and they also have all of our articles on there. So make sure to go check out Ballpark Pal. They also make it -115, +115. Makes sense that the standalone game wouldn't have a ton of value on the spread or the total or the money line, but we could still talk about it and find our own predictions. Let me throw some stats at you. Giants against lefties at home last season, /220, 280, 330 for a 75 WRC plus that ranked 27th in baseball. The Yankees against righties on the road last year, 256, 337, 450 for a 119 WRC plus. And if you look at both in the second half, maybe some more recency bias could help. Nope. Giants fall to 28th in WRC plus. Yankees fall to 4th. So just looking at the offenses, you'd probably have to take the Yankees. And then when we look at how each pitcher has done against each lineup, Max Fried has some really good numbers against the Giants' current roster. 287 xWOBA, 366 xSlug, which basically means the quality of contact against Max Fried is soft. And for Logan Webb, 344 xWOBA, 479 xSlug. Quality of contact is pretty good. So I just ran you through a lot of the nerd numbers.
Yeah.
Qualitatively, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really fun matchup to kick off the season. I think it's going to be a pitcher's duel, though, for sure, especially in that ballpark. And I do wonder, this Giants team, I think that is one thing to look at is how are they going to handle lefties this year? And I think it kind of put me right into that thought process, with this start going against Max Fried. Now I wonder, they have a bench full of righties, so maybe do you see a Casey Schmidt get a start as Gerard Encarnacion or Luis Matos get more looks there? Obviously, Harrison Bader being added helps a little bit, but they didn't really do much to spell the concerns, or not concerns, but just to maybe cut the gap in the platoon splits. So I do think it's going to be a tough matchup there. I think where it's going to come down to is just how deep into these games the starters go, because once you do get to the bullpen, again, this Giants lineup's going to bang this year, especially against righties. I think they're going to be really tough. I think the addition of Arias with the power guys that they have actually fits really well. I think Jung-Hoo Lee getting out of center field is just going to help him all the way around. And then the Bader addition at the bottom of that lineup. This is a really fun and balanced lineup. And I think once they get the left-hander out of there, I think it's going to be really fun, and it's going to be a good battle. And I know the Yankees have had a little bit more success against Logan Webb, but he's Logan frickin' Webb at home on opening day. He could just shove. I think it's going to be a quick first 5 innings, and then it's going to be a matter of, who gets to whose bullpen first, and that's where it's going to become interesting. But at the end of the day, again, the Yankees bullpen's better than the Giants. So I think it really does come down to, can Logan Webb outpitch Max Fried? It's a better matchup for Fried, but Logan Webb can outpitch anybody on any given day. So that's going to be the area where no pressure, kid, on opening day, but a lot of it, I think, is on Webb's shoulders.
Are you leaning towards the Yankees right now, at least to win this game?
Yeah, I even though it's at home and all that good stuff, because of it also skewing a little bit bullpen. If it may, you never know. Bullpen could be way better this year for the Giants. I think Ryan Walker is going to be a lot better. I think they've got some guys that could be pretty solid this year. But yeah, I think just the way things match up, it seems like a better situation for the Yankees. But again, you never know. Opening day at home for the Giants, anything can happen.
Anything can certainly happen. I'm going to go with the Yankees as well as my pick to win, and that's not biased. That's just who I think is going to win. And
I could see the Devers home run though that breaks the back.
They're definitely going to bring in Tim Hill to face Rafael Devers, and he's going to
put it in the
low it in two-seamer and just golf it into the water. All right, I want to run you through a couple of individual player matchups for anybody looking at player props, home runs, any of that good stuff on BetMGM. Remember to use code JustBaseball to unlock that new player offer. If you lose your first pick after using code JustBaseball, you get it all back in bonus bets up to $1,500. So on the Yankees side, a couple of guys to look at, obviously, is Aaron Judge. Not just because Aaron Judge is awesome, but because he is 3 for 7 with 2 home runs against Logan Webb, with a average exit velocity of 104.1 miles an hour. So he's certainly one to look at, but also a sneaky one. Who spent a lot of time in this division and has also done a pretty good job against Logan Webb? Ryan McMahon. He's 13 for 42. He's hitting .310 against him, .370 xWOBA with a 94.7 miles an hour average exit velocity. So everyone's going to be running to Aaron Judge to make a bet. Probably hits. But if you want another sneaky one that not a lot of people are going to be paying attention to, it is Ryan McMahon against Logan Webb. What are your thoughts there?
I'm good on Ryan McMahon props, I'll tell you that. But that is interesting. Are there any Giants that have good numbers against Logan Webb?
Yes, there are. Luis Matos.
Any Giants have good numbers against Max Fried, excuse me.
Yes, Luis Matos, like you already mentioned, who's likely going to be in the lineup against a lefty, 3 for 5 with a double and a home run against Max Fried. And Luis Arias doesn't care what arm you're throwing with. He's 6 for 13, a .462 batting average. Now, it's a lot of singles, but 6 for 13 is really, really solid.
Yeah,
also, sorry for anybody listening to my voice. I know I'm under the weather. I know you're under the weather. I know Podcast P is under the weather. We just got back from the World Baseball Classic, and we're all still recovering. You want to hear some bad matchups?
Yeah. Arias is surprising, to be honest. That can help a lot. And then I think this is going to be a sneaky year from still 24 years old, Luis Matos. So I like that.
And Luis Arias still 28.
Yeah.
People pretend he's like 40.
Yeah,
like he's Salvi. No, he can still hit. Bad matchups. Cody Bellinger against Logan Webb. Not good. 6 for 35. He's hitting .171 with only 1 extra base hit. It's not a homer. It's a double. And then on the flip side, Harrison Bader, 2 for 11 with 5 strikeouts. And another reason I brought him up, I know it's not that big of a sample, but the quality of contact is like terrible. So stay away from Bader, stay away from Bellinger based on previous results. Or if you got a feeling, you got a feeling. But those are the matchups. That is our prediction for Yankees Giants. Give me a final score prediction. Why not? It's fun.
I think low scoring. I think a couple runs tacked on at the end. I'm gonna go 3-1 Yankees.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4-3 Yankees. I think it hits that total right at 7 as well. That's my prediction. It's literally 4-3. Yankees win. All right, folks, that'll do it. Tomorrow will be my top 100 players, which you, again, will be able to find on justbaseball.com. And Aram and Jack are going to be here to debate. It's always one of our favorite shows. And again, that will be tomorrow. And then we're officially into the MLB season. Make sure to make the Just Baseball Show your show for all baseball season. You can hit that follow button on Spotify. You can hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure to like on YouTube. Make sure to rate and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shows. We'd love to have you for the entirety of the season. Thank you to Podcast P for producing. And also, right before we go, remember, if you guys want to come in the Discord, Aram's got a bunch of card stuff in the Discord.
We're talking prospects in there all the time, too. That's so much fun.
All of my bets are in there. It is the best baseball group chat in the world. And even if you don't like betting, you don't like prospects, you don't like cards, we still have an MLB chat where we're just talking general MLB stuff all the time with the entire staff of Just Baseball. Remember to go check that out. And if you want to get some Just Baseball merch, you can find that as well. For Aram Layton, I'm Peter Apple. See you tomorrow for my top 100. And with that, thank you, everybody.